of course, reassuring their families back home that they're okay. Moving on, we want to now speak to Patrick Amimo. Patrick, thank you very much for joining us. He has been covering that Senate Finance Committee meeting between the committee and Dr. Evans Kidero. So talk to us about the happenings in that meeting. What resolution was arrived at, if any?
Thank you, Betty. In fact, this was a petition that was presented before the Senate Finance Committee by the Nairobi City County Governor, Dr. Evans Kidero. He claims that the national government owes the county government a total of 72 billion shillings debt. That is in default of land rates, parking fees, and the land that was sold to the military that is in Embakasi, worth the 2,000 acres of land in Embakasi that is worth 63 billion shillings. This is the money that the county government wants the national government to honor the debts and pay back. That's why we saw Governor Kidero appear before the Senate as an institution that is charged the responsibility of ensuring that county governments thrive or they carry out their operations without any hindrance from the national government. That's why he brought the petition before the committee that is led by Mandera Senator Bill Okero. So before this committee, the members were very curious to know whether this particular debt has been audited, and Kidero has confirmed to the committee that this part of the debt, the 72 billion shillings, has been confirmed there by the Auditor General's office, and it's an authentic debt that does really exist. And he also told the committee that he raised the matter with the Jubilee administration way back in July 2013, as soon as the Uhuru Kenyatta administration was inaugurated, asking on how this debt could be cleared. And the cabinet resolution was to ask Treasury to see how these monies owed by government, ministries, and state corporations, how they can be streamlined and ensure that they are paid on time. But he expresses frustration, saying that ever since July 2013, the government, the Jubilee administration, has not been able to pay the debt. And it's his feeling that this particular thing is a frustration from the Jubilee administration. Is trying to frustrate his government because Governor Kidero comes from the opposition. He was elected on an ODM ticket, and this time around he'll be defending his seat under the NASA, the National Super Alliance ticket under ODM. So he feels it's Jubilee government that is frustrating him, and he says that he believes that if it were probably maybe a Jubilee governor, then maybe this particular debt would have been settled way back. But that thing has also been asked whether he can, as a county government, can enforce those who default on payment so that it can be enforced to collect the money. But he says it's easy. Okay, for the private sector, it's easy for the county government. They can clamp their buildings and to enforce repayments. But for the national government, he says it's very, very difficult, because even at the place where I'm standing now, which is Parliament Press, the National Assembly owes the county government debts in terms of land rates and also the parking bay. But he says then he cannot come and clamp or decide to attach Parliament property or its buildings and say that maybe auction them according to the Ratings Act. So these are some of the challenges that the county government is facing when it comes to dealing with the national government. He's also expressed his frustration, saying that in as much as the Kenya Revenue Authority owes the county government some monies, it's not the KRA who is the tax. The KRA has not been able to repay back the debts. But when it comes to the money owed by the county government to KRA, then it's very, very fast. It uses its mechanisms to collect its debt, but then does not pay back what is owed to the county government. So those are the frustrations Dr. Evans Kidero has brought before the Senate committee, and the Senate will be looking into it and see how it can assist. But then again, there was some tricky situation where they are indicating that maybe the county government should go ahead and try to go to courts and seek resolutions from the court on how this particular debt can be settled. So it is a huge task for the county government, and we'll be seeing how they'll negotiate it through and see how the national government honors its part. Because according to Kidero, most service delivery in Nairobi cannot be done properly because of these monies that are owed by the central government. He says there were plans to modernize Pumwani Hospital, that at a cost of 9 billion shillings. That plan has collapsed because he cannot get the money. He was depending on the national government to pay back its debt so as to improve Pumwani Maternity, which is a leading maternity hospital in the region, public hospital in the region. Betty?
All right. Thank you very, very much, Patrick Amimo, there reporting from the county County Hall, updating us on that meeting between the Senate Finance Committee and Dr. Evans Kidero about money, about 72 billion shillings owed